The hardest part about graduating a UX bootcamp is getting a job. To avoid making any mistakes and not making it more difficult on yourself, I'm going to go through what not to do if I was graduating a UX bootcamp today. First thing is not establishing your online presence. I can admit I did not do a good job of this at all. I did not think about marketing myself, having a brand for myself. I was pretty much just out there, like probably a lot of you guys are, working on my portfolio, applying for jobs, making connections on LinkedIn, rinse, repeat, doing the same thing. I wasn't really thinking about how I was coming across. And I think before you probably didn't really have to do that. Now with the job market being as competitive as it is, you have to use any and every tool belt that you have. Pretty much what I'm saying is that you want to promote who you are and what you're capable of. Make sure you're optimizing that LinkedIn. If you want to put any work that's maybe not just in your portfolio, but maybe anything that's a personal project, you can put that on Behance and Dribbble. Any socials you want to include, just be careful what you post on that. If you're tying your socials to anything professional, just, be aware of what you're posting. Come up with a little bit of a story about yourself. Is there a certain focus area and industry that you want to work in? Maybe that's what you want to craft your online presence around. If you are really into fintech and finance, that could be something. If you're leaning more into like AI, huge, or like crypto, anything like that, brand yourself as such. Share your work and your insights in some UX communities. Really just create the story of who you are as a designer, because the better that you understand it, the better prospective employers will understand it as well. Other thing you don't want to do is not having a job search plan. To the best of your abilities, you need to set an end date, a goal date. And this is obviously ideal if everything went the way that you wanted it to go. It could be even much faster than you set. But let's say I want to have a job. I get my onboarding package July 1st. I have 3 months to make that happen. So from there, then you can think about, okay, if I have 3 months to make this happen, what am I doing every single month? What am I doing every single week? Am I applying to minimum 6 jobs a week and connecting with 2 different people on LinkedIn? Am I attending 3 networking events a month? It's kind of a lot, but like these are the kinds of things that you want to start putting some numbers to it. You want to quantify your job search plan, because it's really easy to be like, yeah, I applied to a couple today, but it's like, no, have a set goal of like, I'm applying to this many, I'm doing this many. You want to keep yourself accountable and actually follow the plan that you're setting. And I know sometimes it can be overwhelming. There are sites like Hunter that do a really good job of helping you track the job that you apply for. Man, I can't even imagine. I was doing a horrible job of tracking that, and I only was going off of like the emails that I sent or received, and also referencing what I applied to on LinkedIn. It was all over the place. So have some structure, have a little bit of a game plan. You just went through a boot camp, check to see if they have any career coaching, any mentoring. I mean, you've paid for the boot camp. That should be a perk that comes with it. So luckily for me, I had that exact perk and privilege when I did my boot camp with Springboard, who's the sponsor of today's video. So shout out to them. Once I actually finished my program and my course, they weren't just like, all right, see you never. They actually matched me with a career coach. Shout out to Evan. He was the best. That part of the offering that Springboard has is really great because it helps you actually get to the goal. Like, we all want to get through boot camp, great, but after boot camp is over, we want the job. So we were doing things like job search strategies, going over resumes, optimizing my LinkedIn profile, did mock interviews for technical and non-technical interviews, just to name a few. So if you want the coaching that comes with the boot camp, their next UX UI design course starts April 8th, but the deadline to be in that class is April. You will have exactly 1 week to apply to be in that cohort April 8th. When you're ready to enroll, use the code STEPHANIEM to get $1,000 off that course, and do not let another month go by, guys. Now is the time to get into it. Next, not seeking any feedback. This kind of goes back to what I was just saying about getting career coaching, mentoring, but another mistake is not getting any feedback. Okay, your resume is done, your portfolio looks beautiful, but has anybody but you looked at it? If not, that is a problem. You want to make sure that you are not just creating these beautiful professional portfolio pieces and great resumes and cover letters and not having anybody review it. And obviously this can be friends and family, but if you want a little bit more curated feedback, there are websites like ADP List, Designer Hangout. I'm sure there are a few Facebook groups. I know there was a lot when I was looking for jobs, like Designing in Denver, Ladies in UX, different groups like that, where people were just sharing portfolios, resumes, case studies, just trying to get feedback from as many people who are doing this job as possible, just to make sure that your work stands out. Nobody wants to have the cookie cutter portfolio. That is a video that I've been wanting to make about how to not look like your portfolio came straight out of the bootcamp factory. Okay, there are ways. Get your stuff, get your documents, your artifacts in front of as many people as possible. Something that I did a lot was getting info interviews with a lot of people. I know they're kind of a pain, but they are really helpful. If you can get somebody, they're really gonna be worth your time. I mean, I met some really cool people doing that as well. And it was just nice to get people who are designers, senior designers, whatever level, just giving you any kind of feedback. And, you know, be receptive to that feedback. These people are just trying to help. Nothing is personal. Perspective is everything. So keep that in mind when you're getting the feedback, but make sure that you're actually seeking it out. This one is probably the most important one. Do not take your foot off the gas. Do not do it to yourself. I know it's easier said than done, but I'm not even just talking about the job hunting. I'm talking about when you finish your boot camp, maybe there's still some things that are kind of left a little bit undone, whether it's in your portfolio or your resume. Do not just be like, I'm finished now, I can kind of take a break. No break, which kind of sounds bad, but do not let things linger. Finish that case study. Complete your portfolio, finish that case study, clean up that prototype, whatever those little tidbits that you're tying up, tie up those loose ends. Don't be thinking about that when you need to really focus your effort on the job hunting. When you come back to those tasks after weeks, days, or weeks even, it's that much more difficult to complete them because you've kind of lost a little bit of that context and that closeness. As we know, UX design and tech is rapidly changing, so make sure you're on top of any changes, whether it comes to new tools, any new technologies, any trends, any crazy things that AI is doing. Stay on top of that. Read the blog posts, see what's happening in tech news. Is there local startups in your area that have just IPO'd? I'm only thinking about that because there was one in Denver that just did this week. These are the kinds of things that you want to just feel like you know your stuff, and that's the way to stay on top of this. When you let your foot up off the gas, that is when the progress slows down. Now that we've covered the pitfalls to avoid as a UX Bootcamp grad, check out this next video here where I go over the next step, how to navigate this competitive job market.